It looks like it's working. Um, so welcome, let me start over again. Welcome, Success Creators, to today's Training Thursday. I am Wendy Perkins, if you're new here, and I am the Success Doula, and I am here to help you and gently guide you through the process of birthing your business. So today, I had planned on talking specifically about getting support, but then a question came up on Tech Tuesday about whether or not you did websites. So I decided I'm going to talk about both today because why not, right? So, first, talking about getting support. So, to me, this was an important uh, topic over the last 2 weeks for myself. As a coach that coaches other people, sometimes I find it hard to get the support that I need. And so I decided to invest in myself and get myself some help as well. And that is one way to do it. And if you aren't working with a coach right now and you're trying to grow your business, I do highly suggest it. And the reason why is because, for example, with me, I my husband, he was my husband. He's not technically my ex, so we're still technically married, but we've been separated for several years. We haven't financially divorced yet, if that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense yet for us to divorce for financial reasons, and we have kids, and there's a couple reasons in there, but it's coming soon. Anyways, I digress. So he has his own construction company, and it's going well, and it's good, and it's growing. And yes, I set up his website. Yes, I helped do his ads for it. And it was interesting because it wasn't that long ago I was asking him about, well, I was just curious, how much money would you have paid for all of the stuff that I did for you if you didn't have me? And the number that he came up with shocked me because it was so low. And I was like, do you even understand how much work it is that I do? Or do you even understand what work it is that I do? And it also got me thinking that about how even though he's really successful in business, he doesn't know my business. And every business is going to be a little bit different, but there are some similarities depending on what you do. If you have an online business, it is very different than having a construction business. And the way that you talk with people and the way that you value things are going to be different. And it does kind of tie in actually to the question about whether or not you need a website. Now, interestingly, if once he told me the price on the how low it was that he would have asked for it, and then I asked him, well, how much money do you think, how quickly do you think you would have grown your business if I hadn't done all that for you? And he's like, oh, I'd still be struggling right now. And he had that light bulb moment. He was like, oh my God, he's like, getting a good website is worth its weight in gold. And it wasn't just the website, it was the whole marketing and advertising plan too. So it went together. And then I asked him to do a favor for me as just, some marketing research for a construction company where you wouldn't think it would matter. And honestly, he got most of it, or still gets most of his business from Yelp. So he asked a couple people, like, what was, the deciding factor, or, all those things. Like, why did you pick me, right? Like, over other people. And he was surprised to learn that one of the main reasons is that he's saying, besides him being nice and his rate being reasonable, it was that he seemed like a good, legit business, and they liked his website. And he was shocked to learn that as well. And the thing about a website, and then I'll bring this back to support again. So the thing about having a good website, it is not the end all be all to having a business. You can 100% grow a business without a website. People did it for years and years and years. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, I have tons of friends that have service-based businesses where they don't have a website, and there is no problem with that. Where it does come into play is, if you think about it, if it's between you and one other person, and they're really close to deciding they like you, they like them, and then they go to the only thing that really sets you apart then is how easy they can get access to you, and how to interact with you. And the website is a part of that. A website, it's like your storefront, right? And actually, from a technical standpoint, the ADA, American Disability Association, I forget, Act, whatever. I can't remember what is ADA stands for. I should remember because I have a disabled son. But anyways, the ADA actually, if your business is online, your website is your storefront, and so your storefront actually has to be accessible. And if you don't have things in place that allows people with disabilities to be able to contact you and purchase from you, you could actually technically get sued. And so that once again, I digress. So talking though about your website, like, is it needed? No, it's not needed, but it can make the difference between you making sales and not making sales. Now, just having a website is not the answer. You need to have a well-designed website for what your business is doing and for the purpose of what you need. Like, for example, with Ellie, that's my ex's name, right? He has a construction company, so he doesn't need all these fancy sales funnels and all that kind of stuff that goes in there. But he does have his Yelp advertising embedded in, or his Yelp reviews embedded into his website. So, it's connected over there. And as more people register on Yelp and give him reviews, they show up. So that's his testimonials page, is basically a Yelp integration. He has a contact form that then integrates into his system where he does all of his estimates and invoice. So all the information gets, transferred over there seamlessly, so he doesn't lose anything. And then, he has all of the payment stuff set up so that way they can pay online and do all of that stuff. So everything is done in a way where his system allowed him to be able to grow quickly and easily. And him as one person, he didn't have to create a whole bunch of, having to manually create invoices and manually create estimates and manually create, stuff. I mean, he has to do some of it, but we got him set up with the software and the connected his website. So the very first contact, so from Yelp has it go straight to this one page on his website, and then they fill out the form, and then it goes into his system. So it's all connected and cohesive, and it actually allowed him to be able to support more people quickly, and he was able to grow his business quicker. So he was able to, ramp up his advertising to be able to bring some people in. Now that's his business, right? So, but that's probably not the type of business that you're in, because if you're here, you probably have an online business. So you can, your website, it's all about it being like a functional tool of your business. So if you don't necessarily need it. And a lot of times people need to just work on getting clients first. And the best way, if you don't have a good social media following, and you don't have a website already, and you don't know how to do all of that, and you don't have anyone to work with, then you can just start getting on social media yourself and start interacting with people and trying to bring in clients on those one-to-one. You will get more income quickly with one-to-one clients, but you will also have to spend more time with your one-to-one clients than, say, if you had an offering where you are just driving traffic to, say, your website, and then dispersing getting your income from that, right? Like, so bringing as many eyeballs to your website, whether it's a course or a product or whatever it is, and then the advertising would be doing the sales work for you, and your website would then, like, the advertising brings the people onto your website, and then your website would be your salesperson instead of having to manually go out and do the sales yourself. So that is kind of like, when it comes to websites, like, it always just depends. And I wish there was like a hard and fast answer. And it depends on where you are, where your business is, where your clients are, how it all works together, what your technical skills are, what systems you have in place. I know people who have built businesses on Facebook, and for the most part, I don't think Facebook is going anywhere. But at the end of the day, if Facebook disappeared tomorrow, whatever reason, like, maybe there was some crazy thing that made Facebook come down. Maybe, like, there was a cyber terrorist attack and they targeted Facebook, and now Facebook is down. Your business is done. At least with a website, and if you're a smart website owner, you will have your website backed up in multiple places, because that's what I do for all of my clients. You have your website, and then I have a carbon copy of their website every single day that is ready to go, that is actually saved in 2 different locations, so that way if something goes down, we can just put it right back up and it's ready to go. And the thing about a website is that you own all of that, right? So you're not dependent on Facebook to drive your business. But I don't think Facebook's going anywhere. So if you have a method of right now of building your business through Facebook, keep doing it. It is a great way to build things, but just know that you should probably also be considering, having some way to capture that information, every single contact that you can get. And in particular, emails. You hear this all the time. List building is essential for building a business. When it comes down to it, everything is a numbers game. The more people you have on your email list, and the more you contact them, and the more they engage with you, the more you will make sales. That it's a pure numbers game. So that is talking about the website thing. So then talking about the support thing, it does tie back in. So you would think that I would have this built-in support structure with, this person that's in my life that has a successful business, and we'd be able to talk about things, except for, as I said, his business is so different from mine, and he just didn't get it until I actually kind of flipped it on him and he stopped to think about what it is that I do. But even still, with a lot of things that I do, he just doesn't understand it and he doesn't get it. And even my ideal kind of clients, my ideal clients are people that are like healers or trying to make, major transformations in people's lives. And, that's very different than construction. And when I talk about, certain things, he's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Of course he doesn't like it because he's not my ideal client, right? So it's really important for me to be around people that think and know the things that I am working on, right? So it's much easier and I get much better feedback when I am talking with another healer that is working on their business than if I was to be doing it, talking to him, right? So you may have a completely big supportive group of people in your life. Another example from my life, I just like to use my life because then I don't have to worry about, divulging other people's information. So another example from my life is that my best friend, she is a high school teacher and she's very smart and intelligent and tech savvy and all of that. Except for when I talk about some of the stuff, she just doesn't get it, right? And it doesn't mean she's not supportive, but she just doesn't understand it. She can't really give me advice. I can't ask her for advice. So it's important that you do go out and try to find people that are doing the same things that you're doing. One of the easiest way to do that is to join a Facebook group like this one, to start talking and communicating with other people that are going through the same things that you're going through. And, this is where coaching, I think, is really beneficial, is because, we don't develop as humans in a silo. We are meant to talk things out and to work things out and to strategize, and you need input from someone else. You can read as many books as you want, you can take as many courses as you want, but until you actually start working the stuff and trying it out and getting feedback and tweaking it and changing things, whatever it is, even if it's, you want to lose weight, like you can read a book about losing weight, but that's not going to help you to lose weight. You actually have to get up, do it. And you may need to talk to someone about like, why isn't this working for me? I'm following everything that's in this book, but it's not working. Oh, maybe you just need to tweak this, right? So getting support is probably one of the most essential things of being a business owner, because otherwise you're just trying to grow yourself in this little bubble, and there's a lot of information out there, and it's really hard to disseminate it from like what's good and what's bad from the things that you hear. Some people are better at it than others, so maybe you can see through all the bullshit, or maybe you get sucked in by the messages, or maybe the messages don't quite resonate with you but you don't know why. So working with someone that you do resonate with, that you can talk to and bounce ideas off, is my number one suggestion for getting support. It's not just because that's what I do. The reason I do it is because because people need it, right? But that's the whole reason why I got into doing this, is because I want to be able to help people kind of work through all of the numerous messages that you see out there. But that's just one aspect of support. But then when it also comes to, here, I want to check the thing, make sure there's no questions. Okay, cool. So also when it comes to support, it's really important that you are taking care of yourself, right? Like we all know we should do self-care, self-love, all of that stuff. But as a business owner, it's really easy to get sucked into like business to business. I gotta grow, gotta do this, gotta do that, and kind of, you know, fall into the bathtub at the end of the day, or just have to zone out and be like, oh my God, I'm turning off my phone. I can't talk to anyone for hours. And that also might be your personal makeup too, right? And, this is something that I think finding your tribe of people and finding the people to talk to is super important. I do recommend doing things like Facebook groups to be able to reach out, because people that have more of a like-minded personality, or just being exposed to different kinds of people and the way that they're working and the way that they're getting their answers, I think is really important, because there's not going to be one best way for everybody. Everyone's going to have a slightly different strategy that's going to work for them. All right, taking my best friend, my ex, and me as examples for energy, right? So my best friend, she is, early bird, or if you know your sleep, the sleep chronographs, typographs. Oh my gosh, I forgot the word. She is a lion, right? So she wakes up like at 4:30 in the morning, and she's like, rawr, and she gets going, and by 3 o'clock she's done. Right. And then there's the husband, where he is a bear, which is like what most of the working world is made for, where he wakes up, like 7:38, or, 7 o'clock, works 8 to 5, comes home, goes to sleep 10 o'clock, right? That kind of normal, like sleeping, habits, right? And then there's me, who is a night owl, or in the chronotype, I'm a wolf, right? Where I don't even start peaking usually until the afternoon. There's a reason why I'm in LA and this is at 12:30, because this is kind of like the earliest that I'm going to be like really on top of things, right? Because my whole way of working is more geared towards being up at night. And the reason I bring this up and thinking about support and how you find support, because a lot of times we look for other people who have figured things out ahead of us, right? And almost every book you read about productivity comes from people that the vast majority of them say, oh, just wake up early in the morning. Well, I'm telling you, it is not going to work for me. I have tried it for years and years and years. And once I stopped fighting against that and finding my own way and finding people, I got into some Facebook groups, learned about the sleep chronotype, did my research on it, figured out what works well for me, and then, got help and support within that group to, create a pattern and a work style that is going to be more beneficial to myself. So, there's ways to get this support. And then thinking about if you are going to be joining a Facebook group and asking questions and trying to get support, I do recommend this. I think we probably all can relate, because we're all service providers or product provider or something, right? Like we're all in for business, right? I mean, how much do you hate when people are just trying to get like free advice or information out of you, right? It's not bad, and sometimes sometimes you don't mind and sometimes you do, but in general, it's like you can get sucked into just constantly providing free advice. But the cool thing about being a part of a group and asking in a group is that the person then who, not only are going to get the benefit of multiple people giving input, and so there's going to be hopefully someone there that resonates with the way that you think and you work, but then also the person who is having and running that group, they get this opportunity then to share their wisdom and knowledge, because for the most part, everyone who has a group is either they're doing it because they want to share their knowledge, also bring in business too, but it's a community, right? Like they're trying to create a community of and provide information that's really going to genuinely help people. And so instead of dropping a message into someone's DM where it feels like you're just trying to get something free, like free information, free advice out of them, by posting in someone's group, you're not only are you asking for help and getting the support that you need, you're also giving the opportunity for other people to get the answers to the question that you provided. You're letting the group person who started the group get more exposure, and so it's like a way to actually get support but then also support other people simultaneously. And that is, I think, one of at the end of the day, when it comes to support, it's always there's going to be this like little like circle of support. And so sometimes I think, as if you're like a strong, independent business owner, you may find it difficult to want to go out and ask for help. But, maybe because you're like, oh, I don't want to owe them anything, or, I don't want to, kind of look at it as like, oh, now I owe them. But if you kind of approach it as like, hey, you know what? I need support, but I also know that how can I support you while you support me, and kind of create this community of being able to support each other. It becomes stronger. Everyone becomes stronger. And as, someone who is, especially if they're like building their business and they're, trying to get known and trying to get out there, going and asking, for help or questions and advice in their group is actually really going to be a supportive thing that you can do, because you're now opportunity to share their knowledge, to show their wisdom, to show like, how great they are. And who knows, maybe you'll end up working with them because, they provide all of the answers that you need. And you wouldn't have known that if you didn't go out and actually ask for the support that you could from them. So, and if you're not in Facebook groups, you can also do it through like Instagram, but just doing it on the comments, because once again, it's creating more exposure for them and giving them an opportunity to share their wisdom. Although I do find that Facebook groups do provide more of that opportunity where people really do expand on it. And also people can provide links and all that stuff in a Facebook group, whereas they can't do that on Instagram. They can just say, hey, go check my profile for the link in my profile, right? So, yeah, that was kind of, I think that was everything I was going to talk about getting support. Oh yeah, when I was talking about self-care. So I did talk about self-care briefly, right? So I do recommend you getting into some group that provides some uplifting information and advice and tips and tricks or whatever about an aspect of your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be about like your physical health. Doesn't even necessarily have to be about like self-care or self-love. I'm a part of this like Divine Goddess group, and I love it. Every week, the group person, she just posts like a random thought, like she posts like a random goddess and like a random thought about it, and we all chime in with what we think, and it's just an opportunity to kind of get out of myself for a moment and think about like the blessings and all that stuff that I have in my life, right? So that is always a good way to support yourself too, is by finding uplifting groups and communities that you can be a part of, and that is a way to support yourself. And then last but not least, I had an idea for a second and now it just went away. Oh my gosh. See, I should have wrote notes beforehand. That I learned. But I had a lot going on. I think most people here know that I'm also an orgasm coach, and I've actually had a lot going on this morning on the orgasm coach realm, because I'm teaching a class or co-teaching a class on Saturday and have something that I'm releasing on Sunday. So I got a lot of stuff going on. So I forgot to prepare for my notes. So I should have gotten support in getting prepared. But anyways, that was kind of, I guess that was everything I was thinking of. I thought if I rambled for a minute, I'd remember the other comment or thought that I had about support. But so if you need support in your business, please feel free to comment on this video or post any single time that something comes to your mind. Chances are, if you have that question, someone else has the same question too. So please feel free to use this place in this space as an opportunity to get support, not just from me. And like, if you see someone else ask a question and you have something to say about it, please chime in, and even if it's, hey, I heard this, what do you think about that? Or, get a conversation going, because we shouldn't live in these silos, and we're not building our business. We might be the person building our business, but we don't build it, completely by ourselves. We need support. We need other people to be a part of our growth, because without having those people to bounce ideas and things around with, you're just going to kind of be stuck and staying in your one lane, right? So it's all about expanding out into bigger and better. All right. I guess that's it for today. It was kind of short and sweet. I hope you guys all have a lovely weekend. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the group. Facebook.com/groups, The Success Doula, if you're seeing this from YouTube. All right. Bye-bye. I forgot where to turn it off. Oh yeah, there it is. Bye guys.